And look at Jochen Hahn and Antonio Albacete. The two of them go flying through the right-hand side, then the left-hand side. Jochen Hahn around the outside, and Lucas Hahn, no father and son, come together on the exit of turn one.
And the best thing about this is the fact that it's still a 15-minute sprint race. They've not extended the time of the race. It's still just like, it's going to be, what, 7 laps of start for
Yeah. We get to the real nitty-gritty of motorsport. Cranston and Smith are side by side for the title in the very final race of the season as they go back up the hill towards the Schumacher-esque. Nils Kor clips the back at 10, Simon Povey clips the side of Nils Kor. They go over the hill and Povey's around.
Oh my god, that's going to definitely be the thumbnail, isn't it? Hit me in the right direction.
Thank you so much.
23 cars.
Back in 2021, the Chaz Draycott Media European Touring Car Championship took place, showcasing the bonkers Kia Optima and a number of fictional brands created for the series as a way to provide teams with colour schemes and liveries that avoided any potential copyright implications towards brands or conflicts of interest for the drivers using them. Now, as if plucked from the same universe nearly 4 years later, some of those brands are set to return to your screens. There are no signs of door handles or Kia badges here though, as the latest Chaz Draycott Media branded iRacing series sets to follow in the footsteps of the relatively successful Formula 1, on which the curtain closed earlier this year. Combining action-packed open-wheel racing with the colourful brands and logos of the ETCC gives you my latest offering, Formula CDM. Formula CDM is set to be a group of championships visiting all corners of the globe, with drivers fighting for title honours in individual regions. There is to be a European, American, Oceania and even British championship, all culminating into the one with the most bragging rights, the World Series. The format will make use of a sprint and feature race, the former being short and snappy, rewarding a small points boost at the start of the night, while setting the grid for the latter, a long, tough race with a mandatory pit stop to throw all elements at our drivers. The car used will be the Tatus PM18, known in iRacing as the Indy Pro 2000 PM18, a fantastic little 500 kilo formula car propelled to over 160 miles an hour by 275 of Mazda's finest horsepower. The first season is planned to get underway in October 2025 with 8 meetings across Europe running into January 2026, and the best thing of all, entry fees will be just £5 for the first instalment. From there on, returning drivers will receive a discount on future entry fees, subject to participation. It's bound to be a brilliantly fun world tour in one of iRacing's most underrated open-wheel gems. Formula CDM, coming soon.
I think Dennis Melcher has done enough to win the last round of the championship and to win the title all in one fell swoop.
It's a great touring car championship. Things are never chilled here. Honestly, the cars may be a bit dull, but wow, the racing certainly isn't.
Fastest lap of the race now, Ben Lambert.
Look at Andy Fox coming through the middle, he makes a little bit of contact. Dave Waldock is around and he's off on the grass.
Rayfield tries to go right round the outside of Druids. You do not do that and get away with it very often.
Takes the win in round 12.
There's contact again. Fraser Smith and Dennis Melcher are off the circuit. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Chaz Draycott Media, and welcome to rounds 13 and 14 in Season 4 of the British Boring Car Championship, sponsored by Abruzzi, Derbyshire Holiday Homes and Orris Digital, and it's a delight to be here at the tiny and lovable Brands Hatch Indy circuit here tonight. It's a circuit that definitely, well, makes or breaks championships, doesn't it, Ed? Chaz Draycott and Ed May here in the commentary box. Ed, like I say, this is a pivotal one, isn't it? Just like Alton Park was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, a real turning point in the championship. It often is when we come to Brands Hatch Indy. It's such a really tricky circuit to get to grips with. It's sort of almost deceptively tricky because it looks so simple from the top down. It's just, a little sort of bean, isn't it, basically? Got obviously the really, really exciting section when you get up to Druids, isn't it, where I imagine we'll see most of the action here tonight. But it's a great venue, isn't it, to kickstart what is going to be the final 3 rounds or final 3 race meetings of the Formula One World Championship. Not Formula One, the boring cars, sorry.
Well, yeah, it's certainly a good trio that we've got ahead of us here. Obviously going to Brands Hatch Indy for this race meeting. We go back to Donington Park next week onto the Grand Prix circuit and then finish things out at Silverstone for an evening session there on the 10th of September. This is how the championship looks at present, though. Jake Cranstow now with a 50-point lead at the top of the table after a great run at Alton Park. Despite some big drama and contact, Jake is actually starting to really stretch his legs at the top. JB Masida moves up into second place again ahead of Sam Van Alst and John Bailiff, but those two together have put Nodaphone at the top of the team's championship now. They are 6 points clear of Might Just Fit, with Team Jane Fonda not too far behind. And Team Netcode, Ben Bennyworth has now moved off the bottom spot with the no-show from Jack Wells last time. Taylor Adams took his first race victory in boring cars last time out as well, didn't he, Ed? And he's going to be really pleased right now to be climbing back up towards the top of the Independence Championship.
Yeah, it's been very surprising to see it take as long as it has, really, for Taylor, but he's certainly putting in the pace last time out, and we'll see if that can carry forward here tonight. Obviously, all eyes will be on Jake Cranstow, the championship leader. He's certainly looking very commanding in his position right now. It's probably more of a question of when and not if he takes the crown this season. He's put in some great drives. I mean, it was I think Thruxton, which really stood out when he was, very way down at the back of the grid after I think the second lap. Still fought through and ended up winning it.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Jake has been unstoppable at certain rounds so far this season, and we know that we're going to see a little bit more of the same from him into the final few meetings. He's currently tucked up behind one of the dodgy MOT cars. That is the 21 of Donny Alpha Henriksen, just in front of him. Through Paddock Hill Bend they go. I was just driving the PM18 for some of that footage today, actually, around Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit, and Paddock Hill Bend is so scary, no matter what car that you're driving in. We look here at Patrick Dopar, and Patrick has sort of been, I was going to say one of the highlights of the season, but he's really not, has he, unfortunately? He's the driver that we've been talking about a lot, though, because he's got the pace, he's got the capability, but he's just not had the results to back up that pace. It was looking like he was finally going to get a strong result at Alton Park in the second race, and then it went to pot. He had a strong result in the first race, but those second races all season, his best result in race 2 has been a 5th place all season.
Yeah, and it's difficult to really diagnose, isn't it, Chaz, when you come into it, because the second race it's more just about, I guess, taking advantage of the scenarios as they present themselves to you as well.
Well, Togo
presented his rear end to the front of, who was that just up ahead of Patrick Dopar that we were on board with? Was that Taylor Adams potentially that he had coming together?
I think it may have been Taylor, yeah, either that or it was Donny Alpha Henriksen, but yeah, huge moment there for Togo Hisada. Kyle Ridley hasn't set a valid lap yet. Togo has to go into the pits, as you can see. Black and orange flag for him, meaning that the car has too much damage to carry on, but Kyle Ridley has no valid time yet. That's why we remain to look at him. Hisada, though, with Maninfeld, I was just about to say, and Adams, were the top 3 drivers and the top 3 independents, of course. Sam Van Olst crosses the line, he goes fastest. Then Kyle Ridley puts his first time in the session in. He goes quickest. Cranstone, another 0.2 of a second up on everybody, which just again shows you why he's leading the championship by so much. 0.2 of a second around Brands Hatch Indy is like an absolute age, isn't it?
Really is. That is immense from Cranstone, and it doesn't look like he's done just yet. He's still going to be pushing hard for the remaining 10.5 minutes here. See, qualifying is going to be pretty hectic around here just because of how short the lap is. It's very easy to trip over everyone else around you, isn't it, Chaz? It's just more about managing where you find yourself, trying to take advantage of the slipstream while not getting caught up in everyone else's messes. Yeah,
that's it. You've got to try and keep your wits about you in these races. Try not to have too much argy-bargy. We saw a lot of it in race 2 at Alton Park. Maninfeld has just gone back up to, well, it was 3rd place, now 4th place. As he watches this little sort of scrap on track there with Duncan Murray and Ben Bennyworth. Ben had a much better round at Alton Park. He ended up finishing 9th in race 1 but 4th in race 2, which was his best result of the season. He's actually had a 5th, a 9th and a 4th. He's on a run of point scores at the moment, is Ben. Hence, Team Netcode, he being the only driver for Team Netcode, moving up ahead of Team Red Ring in the Teams Championship. Ben Badlukowicz going to come into the pits here. He is. But it's Jake Cranstone. John Bailiff going well at the moment. He's all over the back of Patrick Dopart. But John and his teammate Sam Van Olst currently top of the Teams Championship. Reigning team champions, though, are Team Jane Fonda, Kyle Ridley and Stephen Burns. They're hoping to hold on to that title this season. It's not working out for them so far. Bailiff, in fact, as we look at him, has just gone fastest now, 30 thousandths of a second ahead of Jake Cranstone. Donny Alpha Henriksen just behind there in 10th place. Just 14 cars out there on track this evening. We have a number of no-shows, unfortunately, once again, but it's often the case as you get to the latter part of the season. Drivers feel like there's less to fight for at this stage, and with Jake with the sort of lead that he's got, I don't blame them. Andy Fox has got a new driving buddy for this round of the season. He says he's got a stand-in driver ready for him with El Doggo behind the wheel, ready to go, and it seems like he's driving at the moment as he goes off track into the sand. But Andy is one of those drivers that's been an utter stalwart of boring cars, hasn't he, Ed? He's been around since the beginning.
Yeah, he has been. He's been really great to have him as part of this championship for so long, from, well, its inception till now. Obviously, this is going to be the final time, at least for a while, isn't it, that we'll be running these little Jettas here on Chaz Draycott Media. We want to basically keep it fresh, don't we, Chaz? Keep new ideas coming through, and obviously Jettas have been a great part of it, but it's time to, I think, let them have a rest for a bit.
Yeah, I mean, these guys absolutely destroy these Jettas every single time we go racing anyway. There's always some sort of celebration or some sort of incident after the races. Eric Maninfeld will be a happy bunny. He's not too far ahead of Taylor Adams, only 4 thousandths of a second, but he's currently the fastest independent in this field. We don't have Morgan Burkhardt with us here tonight, unfortunately. Morgan has missed a few rounds this year due to his real-world commitments. This will be the 4th meeting in a row that he's missed, but in the 2 that he's turned up in, he's finished lowest, 2nd, and that was in the very first race of the season. He's then had 3 race wins otherwise. We didn't see Eric Maninfeld last time out. We didn't see Jack Wells or Ferran Grau, neither of them two here tonight either. No James Holman, Naveed Hussein. Just trying to see who else we are missing. Aaron Smith is not here either tonight. He's not had the greatest of seasons either. He won't be too pleased with his current run. Well, it seems like a pretty full grid, but out of all the drivers near the top, one that we are missing is JB Masida from 2nd place and the lead of the independents class. So the independent drivers are important to watch tonight. They're the drivers that have the blue number boards on the cars, but also the blue strips next to their names on the left-hand side on the timing tower. You can also see those blue numbers at the bottom of your screen too. Now, these guys are all going to be hoping to take points away from JB Masida, because the independents are scored differently, aren't they, Ed? But not as many points to go around because there's so few of them, so it's nice and close.
Yes, it does obviously keep all of the championships alive, especially obviously like you mentioned the independents, by the just small number of points means that the gaps never get too big and far apart from one another. Means that there's always something to fight for, isn't there, Chaz? And they are scored not really based on where they finish the race. They basically well, they are, but more relative to each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Instead of getting, say, 20 points for a win, then 15, 13, 12, and so on, they only get 10 points for winning in their class, and it's 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So even if you are, say, finishing third overall in the race, but top independent, and the second place independent is like 10th on the track, and obviously second in class, then you only gain 2 points over them. So it's been really close this season, and I mean, looking at the points as well, we've seen it on multiple occasions where, you know, there's a driver ahead of another in the overall championship standings. In fact, we can actually bring them back up and have a quick look at things as they stand now. But if you look there, JB Masida on the left, 128 points over the next independent, which is Taylor Adams on 98. Yet there's only 10 points between them in the Mediocre Cup for independents. Eric Manintveld is actually ahead of Togo Hisada, who is actually ahead of Morgan Burkhardt, but in the overall standings, Morgan Burkhardt is ahead of Togo by some way as well. So it just goes to show that that sort of split point system, you know, not to toot my own horn too much, but it is working, and it is providing a good scrap in the Independence Championship away from the overall standings. So, you know, it's not predetermined by overall results.
Yeah, and it incentivises battling everywhere in the field, isn't there, between the independents? It doesn't mean that, oh, if they're outside the overall points, then they aren't going to be, you know, it's not worth scrapping for. It really does incentivise the drivers to continue to push all throughout the evening. Speaking of pushing, we're on board with John Bailiff here, really wringing the neck of the Jetta as he's getting onto the start-finish straight now. 4 minutes remain. No driver has been able to best the lap time set by Jake Cranstone earlier on. John has come closest, but still not quite close enough on that time around. Right up to the limits of the track there, in towards now Druids.
Look at the entry speed.
Steering lock putting on as well.
It's crazy, isn't it? I mean, you see that car going up to that corner and you think there's no way it's making it around there, and it just does. They just know exactly what to do with this car, to these guys, and you know, it doesn't necessarily come across as a difficult car to drive, but it's a difficult car to get pace out of, and these guys have been racing it long enough that they know what to do. It sounds like a load of paper cups scraping along the top of a table wherever you look, but it's been great entertainment all along as the British Touring Car Championship, and these guys continue to bring said entertainment. John Bailiff has just been given a black flag for his pit lane entry, I believe. And yes, he's gone too fast through the pit lane, and now that has basically done him in. So he now has to sit the rest of the session out, but I don't think he's wanting to improve on the time that he's set. He's only 30 thousandths off pole, but look at that, the whole field separated by less than half a second. Very, very close. I mean, well, less than half the field separated by less than a quarter of a second as well, so it's a bit of an even spread at the minute.
Yeah, just for the time being. So I don't know if that's going to maybe sort of come together at the end of the session. There's only really 2.5 minutes left, so it doesn't look likely. The drivers are just going to be pushing out hard and not really having the time to try a little gamesmanship, put themselves in advantageous positions. Take advantage of some slipstream potentially. Stuart Clark currently 14th. Versus looking to improve. Half a second off of Jake Cranstone's time, but that's just the margin that we often run with here at Brands Hatch Indy. A very quick lap around here, done in under a minute.
Let's not forget as well that the session ticks over as soon as it hits zero here. We're using iRacing's heat racing system, which means that the drivers don't get a chance to finish the laps they're on. The session doesn't give them a countdown or anything. It finishes as soon as it hits zero, so they've been able to get a lot more laps in than they usually would here. I mean, it's nearly 15 laps for some of them, so they are definitely getting their money's worth with this circuit. You can hear everybody throwing the cars off the road into walls and all sorts. Donny Alpha Henriksen has done some sort of front flip or something, I think, over that barrier. Across the line goes Duncan Murray, 13th fastest for him. Not working this time around, no improvement there. They obviously want to use this as much as they can. I don't know if anybody's going to be doing further laps to improve, as, oh my word, the massive accident for Sam Van Olst. He throws the car back into the pit lane. We do see a bit of this every so often here in boring cars. These guys do like to destroy these Jettas. I wouldn't like to know how many spare cars they've got in the garages. Ben Bennyworth heading around the final corner. No improvements in the first 2 sectors for him so far. Across the not quite start finish straight. Or not quite straight start finish, I should say. Here at Brands, looks like Togo Hisada is going to be the fastest independent in this session. He'll be over the moon with that. He's had a really good run of form, actually, hasn't he? Had a very tough time at his first appearance at Thruxton. Since then, though, he's really switched it on.
Yeah, he has. I mean, Togo has been one of, I think, the standout performers when he's really on song. It's just about trying to get accustomed to it. He is, like you say, very green around the gills when it comes to Jetta racing, at least here with us on Jazz Draycott Media, and the way that everyone likes to race each other. But he's certainly, I think, he's starting to learn a little bit from everyone around him and definitely become a very, very strong competitor. But that is all we have for the qualifying. Jake Cranstone, yet again, another pole position for him.
Yeah, he's unstoppable at this point, isn't he? And think about it, we've got, what, 60 points maximum for the... No, actually, sorry, 120 points maximum for the rest of the season. So there's still plenty to be won, but he is now 50 points clear at the very top. And every single time we go past another race, he's getting closer and closer to the title. We have Jake Cranstone on pole position, then with John Bailiff just behind him, just alongside him. Patrick Dopart, another good qualifying from him. Let's see if he can convert that into a result. Kyle Ridley next up with Togo Hisada and Eric Manentveld on row 3. Then it's Taylor Adams and Sam Van Olst on row 4. Stephen Burns and Ben Bennyworth make up the next row of the grid and complete the top 10. Then it's Donny Alpha Henriksen in 11th place alongside Duncan Murray. And then in 13th and 14th we have Andy Fox and his, well, the driver from the team he used to race in, Dodge MOT, Stuart Clark, starting 14th for this one. Ben Bennyworth here showing us just how steep the grid is, and obviously front wheel drive cars not easy to get off the line here. Ed, what are we thinking for the start of the race?
Yeah, I think actually it may benefit some of the drivers on the second row, because obviously the first row here, it's got a lot more of a sharper incline. It's going to hurt them in towards the first corner. Jake Cranstone, we know he's good off the mark, but keep an eye on Kyle Ridley, Patrick Dopart just right behind.
Just waiting now for Togo Hisada to pop up onto the grid. He'll be on the left-hand side, just behind Dopart, just there. And now the lights will come on. You can see Donny Alpha Henriksen sort of wiggling at the wheel back there, getting comfortable. And round number 13 of the British Boring Car Championship from Brands Hatch Indy gets underway, and it looks like a very solid launch by our pole sitter Jake Cranstone. Patrick Dopart switches to the outside line, tries to swing around the edge and get some momentum. Looks like not too much battling in the midfield. Sam Van Olst is clear of Stephen Burns. Taylor Adams doing okay as well to stay single file up towards Druids for the first time. Keeping it nice and clean, nice and tidy. Andy Fox, the only driver to have gained a place so far in this race. He's gotten ahead of Duncan Murray. Eric Manentveld now taking a place as well. Importantly, away from Togo Hisada. He now leads the independents.
Up ahead of Togo Hisada, just not quite getting the run, it seemed. Start with the Togo, goes very deep, and now the door's been opened wide for Taylor Adams all of a sudden. In the independents, Togo's gone from leading to potentially being shifted down into third for that little fight. Currently going side by side over the start-finish line. Try and use the momentum around the outside and towards this corner, but it's so hard to do. And well, he's going to get a great run out of the corner up towards Druids. Going to go 3 wide. Sam Van Olst fancies it as well. A little bit of contact there just unsettles them all. I think Taylor Adams has been able to secure that ahead of Togo, and Sam Van Olst is just about to try and, well, go around the outside. Look at this, brilliant stuff from Sam.
Great stuff as well from Togo to hold it to the inside there. Great respect between the two of them. Stephen Burns now wants to be on the inside and then the outside, then the inside for the final corner. Gets down the inside of Togo Hisada. The poor guy's been absolutely freight trained by the field. Stephen only just gets his nose in front now. He's out there somewhere, is Togo. You can't quite see him. He's right alongside the independent just on that outside line, hoping to finally get back to the inside line at some point. A great fight between all these guys in the opening laps. Ben Bennyworth now looking down the inside as well. Togo's just clinging to the inside line, saying, no, 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 please let me in. Is Ben Bennyworth going to go down the inside for a look? I think he is. He's gone late on the brakes, and even he's going to try and get the move down now. I feel so sorry for Togo. Started 5th on the grid, down to 9th. Is he going to slide in front through Graham Hill Bend? Maybe, but Ben Bennyworth could get the run on the exit, and he has. Whoa, way out to the left-hand side. Donny Alpha Henriksen wanted a piece of this now as well. As soon as one move is made, another driver enters the frame.
Yeah, that just seems to be the way it's going. Togo is just being battered from pillar to post. Like you mentioned, an absolute freight train of Jettas just passed him by as soon as he got thrown off of the line, off of his rhythm. And with how tight the field is around here, it's so easily done that you can find your race just unraveling from a little moment here, and it was just because he went too deep into that final corner. Door was open wide, and Taylor Adams wasn't going to take a second look at that, nor was Eric Mannitveld.
Eric Mannitveld now in 5th position, back of this queue. There's a big gap behind them of 7/10 of a second back to Taylor Adams. He's done the fastest lap of the race last time round. These guys all in one solid queue, trying to gain the race lead away from Jake Cranstone. Look at this down the inside by Eric Mannitveld. Big commitment this way and that way. Taylor Adams under all sorts of pressure from Sam van Olst and Stephen Burns. Togo Hisada hasn't dropped any other places since. Donny Alpha Henriksen's just had a mistake there, and Duncan Murray has gone through. Great battle going on between these four at the back of the pack here. Donny Alpha Henriksen and Duncan Murray, not the best of friends after some contact back at Alton Park. Duncan this way and that way. They're trying to not squeeze each other as such, but just send the message a little bit saying, look, I'm not giving you all the room in the world. They get stuck together. Stuart Clark, and Duncan Murray off. Duncan Murray off big time into the wall after contact with Donny Alpha Henriksen. Donny's just had more contact with his teammate as well. That was a humongous accident for Duncan Murray.
Yeah, I was more worried actually about his teammate in behind having contact with Fox, but yeah, that was just... Car's getting stuck, isn't it? Right on the exit.
Yeah. And then
barreling into the wall. Not really sure if there's any real blame that can be apportioned. It's just part of, hard racing together, and not a pretty angle is that. Violent one.
That's a very, very big accident, isn't it? I don't know if it was a case of Duncan sort of bounces wide, doesn't he, after the initial contact there. He's trying to get it turned, and he just... Well, Donny tries to get back on. But yeah, it was scary between Stuart Clark and Andy Fox as well, wasn't it? Flipping heck. Focusing moment, to say the least, between those guys there. Duncan Murray, unfortunately, out of the race with another large accident. He's had a number of them so far this season. Jake Cranstone had quite a big one on the start-finish straight at Alton Park, did he not? With a bit of contact there too. Two of them were squeezing one another and ended up scraping along the wall. Still somehow dragged the car back to a result after that accident. But I tell you, I'm excited to see now what these guys do with this. I was going to say quintet at the front, but Kyle Ridley has dropped off from the back of Patrick Dopart a little bit. Patrick's actually sort of a bit under the radar here, considering he's in an almost chrome Volvo lookalike, but he's in a good space here to score some solid championship points that he really needs after, like we say, not converting the pace that he's got into points so far this season. Happy to say that Duncan Murray is back out on the circuit, and good on him, because at the end of the day you have a chance to score points all the way down to 15th position in the British Boring Car Championship, and there's 14 of them out tonight, so you may as well continue and finish the race. Even if you're a lap or two down, you'll still get the points.
Yeah, absolutely, and we love that never say never attitude from a lot of the drivers here in these Jettas. They never sort of throw in the towel, or very rarely throw in the towel. So it's great to see that's carrying on. Duncan Murray, getting some championship points on the board, making sure it's not going to be all for nothing, all that hard work. Cranstone having a little look to defend, actually, feeling a bit more pressure potentially from John Bailiff there. John, who's actually been coming on very strong in these last few races as well. I think he got his first victory of the season at Thruxton earlier on in the year.
John hasn't won a race this season, no.
He hasn't.
He had a second place at Alton Park. He was on a really good run at Thruxton, but then I think he had an accident in race 2 put him down to 8th position. He's had 5 podium appearances so far this season, though. He's only 1 point off his teammate Sam van Alsten, 4th in the championship. So he's having a good run, but there's a couple of results here and there that have knocked him down. His worst result is a 13th, so he's always finished in the points. That was back at, funnily enough, Brands Hatch, actually, on the Grand Prix circuit. I remember that one in particular being a very bruising affair for John. He had a lot of contact and a lot of incidents in that race. I think he had a drive-through penalty in the end. But I'm intrigued by Patrick Dopart here. He's waiting patiently behind Bailiff and Cranstone, and I think John's doing the same. I think some of these guys are just holding station, waiting until the final moments, but look how close they are together. They race in such beautiful flying formation, these guys, don't they? You have to tip your hat to them.
Yeah, they do, and it's impressive that they can race this close to each other without, you know, rear-ending one another, bashing into each other. They're doing a great job at, like you say, flying in formation. But the wider line that Jake takes, it opens the door a little bit for John. He fancies move, but then just out of the corner, Cranstow is able to carry much more speed by having sort of more of a sort of, I guess, is it a shallower line that he's taking rather than going in deep into the corners that Bailiff and Dopart do.
Yeah, he's certainly making it work. Taylor Adams is making it work as well at the moment. He was faster than almost everybody on that previous lap. Togo Hisada did his personal best as Stephen Burns has got past Sam van Alst, but gone way deep into Druids. Sam gets back underneath him, says thanks very much. Little, bit of a hip check on the exit there from Stephen. Not making friends here, these two. Sam tries to turn in to give him a bit of a message of his own. Togo Hisada now suddenly on this one with a watchful eye over the Nodaphone Jetta. Sam trying to put his nose where it's not welcome. Oh, a kiss in the back of Stevens' Team Jane Fonda car. Togo, listen there, just lifted slightly for a moment and then got back on the power just to help the rotation. We're on lap 10, now 11 here at Brands Hatch Indy in the British Boring Car Championship on Chaz Draycott Media. Hope you're enjoying the show so far, everybody. We've got an absolute belter of a first race of the night already underway. John Bailiff and Jake Cranstone then starting to battle now. Jake is back in this pack up, which is not something I thought I'd ever say. That's just the nature of these beasts, you see. Patrick Dopart and John Bailiff now side by side as more contact between Van Alst and Burns in the background makes a little bit of noise. Kyle Ridley suddenly in a great spot here to gain positions. Manintveld and Adams will be, thanking their lucky stars that they've suddenly arrived on the scene when they have. Jake Cranstone taking a crazy line on the exit there of Graham Hill Bend, but all of them absolutely glued together. A little bit of a tap from Bailiff into the back of Cranstone there, sends the back end slightly wide. It's beginning, Ed.
Yep, here we go. They're getting a little bit antsy, aren't they, out in front? Jake Cranstone, I said he was feeling the pressure a little bit earlier. He's definitely trying to weather the storm now. Very, very tight line in towards the first corner, but manages to make it work out. He's going to be safe in towards the hairpin. Further back, Patrick Dopart is having to fend off the assault from the Australian Kyle Ridley, who fancies a little look. Nothing done there. Manintveld as well. You can see him just waiting in the wings. And then you've got Taylor Adams. As soon as you make a move here, if it doesn't come off, all of the drivers in behind are just ready to pick you off piece by piece, position by position. Ooh, unsteady there from Manintveld. Did well to recover. Is that going to potentially give Taylor Adams an avenue in towards the line? Could be. He's really close now, isn't he? He could try and maybe unsettle him going up the inside.
It's just so great seeing how level everything is in this championship. It's so difficult to get extra pace out of the car. They're all trying so hard just to get the extra 100th of a second over on one another, and this is some of the best racing that you will see. Sure, like I said in the trailer, these cars aren't the most exciting machines in the world, but the racing is fantastic fun. Stuart Clark has unfortunately had a bit of a moment. He's lost ground and his teammate Donny Alfa Henriksen has just gone through. Taylor Adams and Eric Manintveld, though, these two are fighting over the lead independent position at this present moment, so they don't need to worry, they don't really need to worry about overall positions with the cars up the road. They need to think about who is the lead independent in this. There's more on the line for these two here. They both want to score big points over JB Masida tonight, who is not here, so he's not able to defend his championship lead. Jake Cranstone doing a great job at the moment, though, of defending his race lead ahead of Bailiff, Dopart and Kyle Ridley. In the background as well, you see Stephen Burns doing a good job of holding off Sam van Alst, and Togo Hisada hoping to make up for his poor first lap or two.
Yeah, Stephen Burns defending from Van Olst. And off the road is Donny Alfa Henriksen. What's happened there? Going together potentially with Stuart Parkin behind. 2 dodgy MOT teammates. Deary me. Please tell me it's not so.
Oh,
there we
it
go.
is. It's not the first time this season that the 2 teammates have made contact either.
No.
They had that back at Thruxton. They had a big accident as well. Stuart looking down the inside. Makes his way into turn 1. Oh, he's a bit late turning in, and Donny just turns in and manages to clip the front corner. And away he goes. John Bailiff has actually taken the race lead. Typically, the moment we look away, John actually gets in front of Jake Cranstone. Jake doesn't need to worry too much, though, because he's got a very handy championship lead. So he could very easily just finish in second here, but this is Jake. He's a perfectionist, so we're not going to see him do that. But John Bailiff leads here at Brands Hatch, and he's not going to want to wait around. He's got a lot of pace behind him. He wants to use it now to get away from Jake and everybody, but let's not forget, the reason that they've been able to stick with Jake so much, with no disrespect to them at all, is the fact that the slipstream is so strong here at Brands Hatch Indy. It's not got the longest straights in the world, but so much of this circuit is flat out in these cars that you really do make up a lot of time and a lot of ground by just tucking in behind the car in front. Looks like everyone wants a piece of this, though. They're all looking down the inside of one another. They sort of fanned out as they went through the final corner, and the top 6 as we cross the line once again are separated by just 1.3 seconds here at Brands Hatch. And Boring Cars outdoing itself once again here tonight, Ed, but so far, touch wood, clean stuff.
Yeah, the racing has been, well, anything but boring, as we often say. But yeah, like you've been seeing there, Bailiff now ahead of Cranstone, but I think Cranstone is going to struggle to actually pass John because of what we've been seeing earlier on in this race. So as soon as a driver tries to make a move, if it's not pulled off, then they get swallowed up and freight trained by the rest of the field. Just ask Togo Hazada how that feels. So Jake Cranstone will need to be really careful about where he picks his moment. He's very quick and close out of the final corner. But does he want to risk a move? Because, well, just as close behind him is Patrick Dopart.
He just scraped across the front of Dopart's car then, but like Ed said, he's using it all to make sure he gets a good run down the start-finish straight. It's like speedway racing this. A lot of the time you see the riders going really far out around the outside and you wonder, why are you doing that? Clearly the shortest route is down the inside. That's why it's there. But it's gradually gaining speed and gradually getting the run for that top-end momentum that they try and utilise. That's what Jake's trying to do here in a lot of these corners. He's taking a later apex and focusing on the run. Manintveld can't afford to just sit there behind Kyle Ridley anymore. They're side by side as they go up the hill in towards the final couple of corners, but Manintveld is under pressure from Taylor Adams for the lead in this independent class, and Taylor's actually now got his nose down the inside, but Manintveld can't just sit behind the Team Jane Fonda car and accept his fate. He wants to fight this. I don't know if he'll fit in there. I think Taylor's moving out of the way, saying you're not going to fit in there, Sunshine, please don't try it. Taylor down the inside into Paddock Hill Bend. He's going to gain 5th position and the lead in the independents. Great stuff by Taylor, and whoa, some drama in front there. Dopart having to take evasive action by the look of it to the inside as Jake Cranstone has now gotten back in front of John Bailiff. The two of them have re-swapped positions. Let's have a look at how he got it done, Ed. Is it down to the start-finish straight?
We'll have a look. Cranstone fading to the outside line.
Oh, Bailiff goes deep.
Bailiff, it's more of his own mistake than anything else. Just feeling the pressure from leading. With everyone in behind, it can take a toll, and now Cranstone's trying to check out. He's got 0.8 of a second to the rest of the field in behind. Probably because they've all been squabbling with each other, Dopart and Ridley. You can see here, side by side. Dopart just in front. Then in behind, actually, you've got Taylor Adams, who's fancying a little move, potentially up towards Druids if he gets the overlap. No, that door is slammed firmly shut in his face by Kyle Ridley. Great racing, though, is it, between all of them? They're just judging the length of their Jettas to perfection, not causing any accidents.
Brilliant stuff to watch, and I think Manintveld had to back out of it last time round, out of the final corner, out of clearways. So now He's ended up with Stephen Burns, Sam van Olst and Togo Hisada just behind them. The top 9 separated by less than 3 seconds, but that is going to change now as Jake Cranstone has disappeared up the road. Manitveld down the inside of Taylor Adams. Little bit of contact between the two of them for the class lead, and these two remain door to door once again. Just behind them, Stephen Burns and what's left of Sam van Olst's car. The front end of that has been mangled in. It's now a Volkswagen Polo instead. But it's still Cranstone leading Bailiff, leading Dopart, Ridley, and then Adams for now as Manitveld kisses wing mirrors down the inside, leans on him through the first couple of corners. Dopart went off the road. Ridley's now down the inside of him. Manitveld is going to go to the front of the class. Surely Stephen Burns wants to get in there as well and gain a free position as a result of that. Whoa, Ridley's around. Ridley is around and off the road. Dopart was involved in that. And now Manitveld goes around the outside of Patrick Dopart as well. He's suddenly gone up into third place as Eric Manitveld. But what happened there, son?
Let's have another look, because that seemed to just... It was all fine, and then very quickly wasn't. Patrick Dopart just around the outside gets overtaken, and then... It's just not really left enough space. He can't drive himself off the circuit. There may be a little bit more that he could use to the left, but he's entitled to the space that he's on.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think Kyle left him enough room there as well. Stephen Burns having to get out of it. Finally, Sam van Olst gets in front of Stephen Burns, not without a little bit of a kiss on the way through. But wow, these two have been endlessly fighting all race. As you can see, Sam has used a lot of the front of that car on Stephen Burns. He's now returning the favour. 1 minute and 3/4 left to go here at Brands Hatch Indy in the first race of the night of the British Boring Car Championship, and Jake Cranstone has checked out now. He and John Bailiff clear of the field. John's best result this season, a second place, and it looks like he is destined to keep it that way. Jake has won pretty much every first race of the night in the last 3 meetings. There's only one meeting so far this season where he hasn't won the first race of the night, and that was when Morgan Burkhardt did it, funnily enough, here at Brands Hatch when we were on the Grand Prix circuit a few months ago. Jake actually hasn't won at Brands Hatch so far this season, but he's going to change that here if he just keeps us up for one more lap. After this one, that is. Patrick Dopart now all over the back of Eric Manitveld, trying to find his way through past the independent leader. Taylor Adams will be egging him on a little bit here, saying, go on, take him off. I want the lead in this class. It's not as simple as that though, is it, Ed? You never know what's going to come your way in these races, and well, we're going to do 23 laps just in the sprint race here tonight, so it's going to be a long old feature.
Yes, it will do, and it's going to take its toll on the drivers, I think, of just going through the same laps. Well, obviously, you're doing the same amount of work. It's a bit more mentally taxing going through the same corners again and again and again. You get the muscle memory, but sometimes that can cause bad habits. You're not as reactive to things around you, and that can sometimes breed complacency. Definitely nothing complacent about the front pair, is there? Jake Cranstone and John Bailiff nose to tail now. John has really been able to close up to Jake, and I'm not sure if we're going to see anything done before the end of the race, but well, John is going to try everything he can. Patrick Dopart meanwhile and Eric Manitveld side by side. Manitveld dropping down through the field. Dopart now up into third place. Manitveld scrapping now with Taylor Adams. Side by side they go.
Yeah, this is for the class lead as well in the independents. Togo Hisada's in there as well, actually. All 3 independents in this race right with each other. Doesn't look like there's going to be a major change unless there's an incident of sorts here as Manitveld gets right up behind. They all push and shove one another through the final corners, but up the road it's going to be another race victory for Jake Cranstone. He's going to cross the line and take his 6th win of the season. He extends his championship lead ever further. John Bailiff happy with 2nd, Dopart 3rd. Welcome back to the independents, Eric Manitveld. He finishes ahead of Taylor Adams and Togo Hisada. Sam van Olst next up, then Stephen Burns, Ben Bennyworth, Kyle Ridley eventually in 10th place, Andy Fox 11th, Stuart Clark 12th, 13th Donny Alfa Henriksen, Duncan Murray next, and would you look at all this up the road. It's an absolute car
park. The handbrake on, drifting through the carnage.
We'll have a little recap hopefully of these guys going off track after the race. Jake Cranstone takes another race victory, and no, we won't get to look at it because iRacing hates me. Big shout out to our championship sponsors, Abruzzi, Derbyshire Holiday Homes and Orris Digital. Thank you very much for your support of the British Boring Car Championship. Cranstone wins, a 10th.5 back is John Bailiff. Patrick Dopart completes the podium. Eric Manintveld is next up and wins the Independents ahead of Togo Hisada and Taylor Adams, just the other way around. Sam Van Alst eventually finishes in 7th ahead of Stephen Burns and Ben Bennyworth, another top 10 for him. Kyle Ridley in 10th place. Andy Fox next up, Stuart Clark and Donny Alpha Henriksen after more team contact, 12th and 13th. Duncan Murray just one lap down, but still manages to finish the race. Stephen Burns has shared a screenshot in the Discord, and I cannot believe that he only got 2 incident points through that whole race. But let me just count how many of those car contacts were. Actually, he got 2 incident points for off tracks the whole race. He made contact with Sam Van Alst a total of 23 times it came up on the sim for Stephen Burns, and no incident points as a result. Fair play. Fantastic, fair play. Ed and I will just take a quick break here on Chaz Draycott Media for just a moment. We'll be right back with you for race number 2 of the night. Don't go anywhere. Hello again everybody, Chaz Draycott and Ed May here for the British Boring Car Championship, the 4th and final season of the British Boring Car Championship, and we're here at Brands Hatch Indy for rounds 13 and 14. We had a brilliant first race of the night, Ed, a lot of argy-bargy and scraping and dancing and many incident points, or well, lack of incident points actually for Stephen Burns, hitting Sam Van Holst 23 times and not getting a single incident point from it. Great typical touring car stuff from Brands Indy, wasn't it really?
Yeah, I mean, it lives up to its billing, doesn't it, as one of the sort of premier touring car venues, Brands Hatch, especially the Indy circuit as well, did not disappoint. And then obviously with the shaken up reverse grid, all sorts to look forward to as well on the circuit, where we did see that while overtakes can be made, there is at great risk to your own race if it doesn't come off, because well, with the likes of Togo Hosada getting absolutely steamrolled by everyone that just sensed the weakness, forced him offline. You know, all of the drivers now know that that is the risk you take when you try and make a move around here.
Yeah, indeed. I think we're going to see a few drivers in this next race maybe dialing it back a little bit. You know, there was not too much sending or anything in that previous race, but I think there was a few drivers there that needed to just lean back on it a little bit and just wait for an opportunity rather than trying to create one. And yeah, it's one of those things on a smaller circuit like that, you sort of get this incorrect idea that the race is shorter because the track is shorter, but we're not doing it based on laps or distance here, it's all based on time. So they'll still get the same 25-minute feature race. Eric Manintveld won the independent class in that previous race. He'll be happy to have done that, and we'll be now looking forward to going out there and trying to do it a second time. But obviously reverse grid, top 10 this time round. We'll have a look actually at the results again of heat number 1, and we'll figure out it's going to be Kyle Ridley actually on pole position, Ben Bennyworth alongside him, Togo Hesada the highest placed independent on this reverse grid, with Taylor Adams and Eric Manintveld behind him. But we've got the likes of Kyle Ridley and Stephen Burns at the front there, Ed, ahead of both the Vodafone cars. Could be a good chance for them to gain back some points in the team's championship.
Yeah, there is actually. It could be very exciting. That's going to be another sort of dimension to this race. And it's another thing which I love about the obviously the team's championship. The drivers don't get to choose their teammates at the start of the season. It's all assigned by the wonderful sort of spinning wheel. And it's certainly forged a lot of good sort of, I guess, like relationships, friendships, isn't it, Chaz? That the drivers are having to work together with not necessarily the same drivers they work with day in, day out in their teams outside of, obviously, Formula 1 and boring cars.
You like Formula 1, don't you?
I was thinking of Formula 1 where it was me and Hedgecock that were partnered up. And then that got me into working with Boosted for a little bit. It's funny how, you know, all of these things can happen just through the spinning of a wheel.
Yeah, it's funny what happens when you force people to socialise with one another, isn't it? But no, but that's one thing that these championships promote, you know. And you know, also the announcement of Formula CDM at the start of the show just earlier on. It's going to be the same thing there as well. There's going to be a lot of random team assignment and people teaming up with others that they necessarily wouldn't usually race with. It does upset me that still some of these guys tend not to run the paint pack, so they don't even know who their teammates are. I wonder if that's what Stuart and Donny Alpha Henriksen have done. Maybe at the end of the season they'll watch it back and realise they were teammates all along. Kyle Ridley sits on pole position for this one, ahead of Ben Bennyworth and Stephen Burns. Sam Van Holst in 4th place. Then it's Togo Hesada and Taylor Adams, 2 independents on row 3. Eric Manintveld 7th, ahead of Patrick Dopart. John Bailiff 9th and Jake Cranstone in 10th. Andy Fox and Stuart Clark make up the 6th row. And then it's Donny Alpha Henriksen and Duncan Murray. We are ready to go here for round number 14 of the British Boring Car Championship Season 4. 25 minutes about to come your way from Brands Hatch Indy. Kyle Ridley on pole position. Does he get a good start? It's a very smoky start, but it looks like a good one. Ben Bennyworth tries to challenge him down towards turn 1, doesn't get a good enough launch of his own. In the middle of the field, Patrick Dopart has already got ahead of Eric Manintveld. He's actually had a bit of a poor getaway this time round, and John Bailiff is trying to swoop around the outside of him. Adams there looking down the outside of Togo Hesada. Dopart then looking down the inside of him, and they go side by side through Druids for the first time. A little bit of contact further back. Guess who? It's Donny Alpha Henriksen and Stuart Clark Once again, if they could have flashed the lights at each other, they would be doing it all season, wouldn't they, Ed? But great start for Kyle Ridley.
Yeah, brilliant for Kyle right now. Sam Van Olst right in the thick of it, pushing Stephen Burns along. Just trying to drive through him by the looks of things.
He did it enough in race one, didn't he?
Yeah, if only it was that easy for Sam. He's going to have to try and go the long way around. Start fresh straight paddock, you'll then coming up now. Any little darts to the inside from Sam Van Olst. He's going to definitely fill the rearview mirrors. Stephen Burns, all sorts of out of shape on the way in, but manages to carry the speed out of the corner. It's all about momentum in these things, but the door is left wide open now in towards Druids. Sam Van Olst launches it up the inside. A good little touring car hip check as he passes by to leave something for Stephen to remember him by. Sam carries on now up into third place.
My favourite ever commentator, Charlie Cox, would have called that a wet and dry rub down the inside or a hip and shoulder, which I think is very apt in these cars because they're very square down the side, but they do have that little hip and shoulder wheel arch. As John Bailiff, we've seen John be very exuberant on the brakes and down the inside all season, very carefree. That was just off the charts, that. He just saw a gap that wasn't big enough for a Jetta and made one. Maninfeld won't have liked that.
Yeah, John Bailiff, he's, well, way up in there. We'll have a look at this from his onboard. This was just a massive check-up in front of him, to be fair. He's, well, going for the position. There is a gap that is closing. He's going to, I guess, hope that it was going to remain open for a little while longer, but he'd come from a long way back. Probably didn't necessarily, to give him the benefit of the doubt, anticipate the check-up being as fearsome as it was. It's Jake Cranstone in behind the pair of them. Yeah, a bit of a well, they kind of, that problem took care of itself really for Jake Cranstone. I was going to say, how's he going to get past these two? And well, they did all the heavy lifting for him.
Yeah, I think Maninfeld there, he ran a little bit wide at Druids, but then as soon as they went near each other, they just sort of bounced against each other and ended up off the circuit. Neither of them wanting to concede, so both of them kept it pinned. Tried to do what they could do. Already, in typical fashion, Jake Cranstone is the highest mover in the field. He's gained 2 places in this race. There's not been a whole lot of movement. Sam Van Olst once again using the front of his car to push everybody further forward. He's egging on Ben Bennyworth here to go after our race leader, Kyle Ridley. Kyle, 6th in the championship at the moment. Only 2 podium appearances so far this season. A 3rd place at Silverstone, a 2nd place at Snetterton. Nothing better than that so far in his campaign, but the Australian leading this race right now. I said earlier that he's definitely one to watch from pole. He's got the pace to keep it up there. We've seen him in a lot of potential podium finishing positions, haven't we? But then he's just never completed it all the way to the end. Well, he has twice, but not often.
Yeah, not often, yeah. It's certainly the case that I expected more. Here we go, though, up the inside. Look at that now from Sam Van Olst. He's not hanging about for anyone, is he?
No.
Really putting the pressure on Kyle Ridley up in front. After getting through on Ben Bennyworth, Stephen Burns is going to try and fight out the pair of them. I think they've settled their differences. And this was, well, Alpha Henriksen and Andy Fox. See if they can settle their differences.
Well, I mean, if there was enough room on the inside, maybe, yeah. But Foxy didn't want to let that one go, did he? Wow, really squeezed him to the curb. Ben Bennyworth has lost another position here to Stephen Burns. And tell you what, Togo Hisada leading the independents in this race, and he's got a car between himself and Taylor Adams, and Jake Cranstone's come to play too. Togo looking good for some more class-winning points here as he also gets past Ben Bennyworth now. Ben having the similar freight train that we saw Togo get in the first race.
Here we go. 2 shiny silver Jettas. Love the shine on Hisada and Dopart, but well, there's a little bit of shine taken off of, well, Dopart's car, because Ben Bennyworth is really trying to hang it around the outside. Tries well to get that move made, but unfortunately he has to slot in behind, and now Jake Cranstone, he's going to take advantage, pushing his way in behind Dopart. Getting the move made just about, but that was so close to contact.
I don't know how they all did that there. Taylor Adams suddenly just clung to the side of Ben Bennyworth's car. It was like there was a giant magnet in the door handle of Ben's machine, and Taylor somehow stuck to the apex, but in a lap and a half, Ben Bennyworth has dropped 5 places. He'll be gutted about that, but it just goes to show you how quickly you can get freight trained. Eric Manintveld and John Bailiff still making friends with each other. Donny Alfa Henriksen. Whoa! Donny off the road and in the wall big time. That is a massive accident for Donny. Hopefully not hopefully not contact with his teammate again. Has he just lost it himself? Yep. Whoa! Grips up one way then the other. Car hops and skips into the air, and that is the end of the race for Donny Alfa Henriksen, I imagine. He may go back out onto the circuit to just get some more points, because like we said earlier, you get points all the way down to 15th. You may as well make the most of them. He has jumped to the pits, but then I think disappeared from the pits, so I think he's out and done with this. But look at that whole train of cars. That is the whole field that you could just see there. 13 cars still running. Kyle Ridley now well under pressure from Sam Van Alst, a driver that hasn't finished higher than... Actually, no, he has had a second place, funnily enough, at Brands Hatch in race 2 earlier this season. Sam Van Alst finished second, and to be honest, he deserves a trophy or a bit of silverware for dragging what was left of that car around to a result earlier.
Yeah, and now we'll see if he can get exactly that. He's got about second back behind to Stephen Burns, so he doesn't need to worry about anything other than the Jetta up ahead of him. Currently, look at the wide line that he's taking through. I'm not sure if he went a little bit too wide there, because really got a little bit more of a margin out of that final corner. Towards Paddock Hill Bend though will come, but I think Sam Van Alst is just going to be too far back to really make anything of it. A little look to the inside just to try and put Ridley off, but it's not going to come through. Early on the power though, it's going to help him all the way up the hill now in towards Druids. Hard on the brakes, keeps it nice and tight though. Good respectful driving for the pair of them, and out of the corner Sam Van Alst. He's going to get the move stick in through Graham Hill. Sam Van Alst leads the race now ahead of Kyle Ridley. Brilliant move.
Really good, and dead important as well for the Teams Championship. I was talking earlier about the Team Jane Fonda cars being ahead of Vodafone. Vodafone lead the Teams Championship at present, and now Sam Van Alst is taking points away from those white and red Honda lookalikes. He'll be really pleased with that, hoping to get his first win of the season. 2 Team Jane Fonda cars on the podium at the moment, while the other Vodafone car, John Bailiff, is down in 10th position. So there is quite a spread here. It still would be in the favour of Team Jane Fonda, I believe, from this race anyway. I have to think about might just fit also with Jake Cranstone at the helm. Duncan Murray down in 12th place, but he's gained 2 positions so far in this race, going up from 14th into 12th. John Bailiff looking at what he can do down the inside of Manintveld. Manintveld looking at what he can do on Taylor Adams. Taylor Adams looking at what he can do with Ben Bennyworth. Jake Cranstone having a look at Patrick Dopart. That is the race lead at the front of that train, everybody. Let me just tell you that. This is the top 10. We're on board with John Bailiff here. The leader is 2.7 seconds ahead. It's fantastic, isn't it?
This is absolutely brilliant. John Bailiff. Oh, okay, in the best seats of the house to see the train and of Jetta's up in front. It's always so just precarious going in towards that final corner. Just easy to overstep the marks a little bit. And to the back of the car ahead, because, well, we saw that early, didn't we, actually, with, I think it was actually Stuart Clark we saw have a little bit of a moment, wasn't it? Oh, no, John Bailiff, sorry, under the brakes. Have that little moment. Jake Cranstone now trying to find the way past Patrick Dopart. No way through. He's got enough of a gap to Ben Bennyworth behind that he's not too worried about losing out on this occasion. That's the thing about Jake, is that he's quite smart with how he's approached this race so far. He's only really been going for moves when he hasn't had someone breathing down his neck, knowing that if it doesn't go to plan, he's still, going to be safe and he doesn't have to worry too much. Well, speaking of hard on the brakes, John Bailiff.
Guess who?
Well, there we go.
If you had to put your money on anyone, John Bailiff. He's an absolute hero. On the brakes. Down the inside of Eric Manintveld. Big old send this from John once again into clearways.
There's about a Jetta's width car.
In fairness, Bailiff and Cranstone and Dopart there's a lot of moving around going on. Kyle Ridley and Sam Van Alst for the race lead, side by side on the exit of Graham Hill Bend. Stephen Burns in there as well, wants a piece of this. All of a sudden, this is erupting at the front of the field. There's been a bit of a drama, and now they're all holding one another up here. This has suddenly gone up a gear now in the British Boring Car Championship. The whole top 8 right together. Taylor Adams down the inside of Ben Bennyworth, trying to make the most of that. I was just going to say, it's interesting because Jake Cranstone leading the championship, obviously with that huge gap. The driver that will now be in second place in the championship will be Sam Van Alst, and he leads this race. So he's doing everything he can do to rein Jake in the overall championship saga. But will it be enough with Jake's momentum that he's got going up the field? Dopart suddenly finds the door slammed in his face. He looks to the inside. Togo Hisada's silver and black machine is there, but Jake tries to run enough of a pace around the outside that he can get through. Duncan Murray is on the grass on the inside of Druids. Jake Cranstone has the inside line through Graham Hill Bend, and maybe the position. No, Togo says not in your life, mate, but maybe in Japanese. And now Patrick Dopart, he's suddenly all over the back of Jake. He's rooting for one of them, but he's got to decide which.
Yeah, here we go. Cranstone all the way around the outside is up in front. That's Van Alst and Burns coming together by the looks of things.
I think Kyle Ridley may be the one that's given him a touch. No, you're absolutely right. Stephen Burns was there first. Kyle Ridley gets him for second. Oh, Stephen gets his nose down the inside. Sam turns in as if Stephen was not there. And, well, in a big twist of fate in the Teams Championship, Team Jane Fonda now first and second, but everybody else is third as, Dopart off. Back on the circuit he goes. Manintveld going through. Ridley is now acting as rear tail gunner, isn't he? To hold back everything from Stephen Burns. There's still 13 minutes left.
Flipping heck, it's all go here. Kyle Ridley's getting the hurry up from Sam Van Alsten behind. Look at the damage done to the front of his Jetta. Just crumpled in.
I think Sam owns a parts franchise of those front bumpers or something. And he's going to give him...
There we go, another one for good measure. Trying to find a cutback, but Kyle's wise to that and blocks off that avenue. Look at that though for Jane Fonda, 1 and 2.
Brilliant stuff for them. Side by side in the background, John Bailiff and Patrick Dopart. Whole field separated by 4 seconds. How cool is that? As they all cross the line after 15 laps of the Brands Hatch Indy circuit. Just 3.5 seconds separating the whole field. Dopart now down the inside of Bailiff. Is he going to give him some of his own medicine and be late on the brakes? He's going to have a look down the inside on the brakes. Is Bailiff going to give the room? Maybe not. A little bit of a kiss on the exit there. Bennyworth now looking down the inside of Andy Fox. Duncan Murray under pressure from Stuart Clark. Side by side with Togo Hisada and Jake Cranstone once again. Taylor Adams, best seat in the house for this. Let's ride on board and see. Got to be careful over these curbs, gents, so you don't bounce too wide. Togo gets a real pogo. Pogo Hisada coming into the final corner. Taylor now suddenly taking advantage of this. Don't forget he wants to get ahead of that silver and black machine for the independent lead.
Yeah, this is a very exciting way to continue this second race, isn't it? Jake Cranstone has had a great drive up through the field so far. Just over half the race is gone, and he finds himself up in 5th place. Having a bit of a battle though, isn't he, with Taylor Adams, who's going to try and, well, put him down into 6th. That's now all the way around the outside, trying to carry momentum through. And it's brilliant that the racing so far tonight has been, well, by and large, really respectful, isn't it, Chaz? It's what we love to see here. Obviously, the Jetta's touring car style of racing does promote contact, but it never seems to go overboard.
No, absolutely not. These guys have raced together for a long time. Well, the majority of the grid has anyway. You know, the likes of Togo Hisada, Taylor Adams, even... who else have we had back in? Duncan Murray this season. He's raced with these guys for a while before, to be fair. But likes of, you know, Aaron Smith, who we've had. Ferran Grau hasn't raced these guys before. Jake doesn't know Manintveld is there. We've seen a few little moments like that from Jake. He's very aware, is Jake, and you know he knows exactly what's around him. But there have been a few moments this season where it seems like he's occupied with the car in front and doesn't quite know that somebody's got their nose down the inside and, you know, turned in a little bit on somebody. There's another one of those little hints of that there from him. But now that's meant that Manintveld is under pressure from Bailiff and Dopart, and then even Andy Fox just behind too. And that's for 7th, 8th and 9th.
Just absolutely bonkers this race so far. We don't really know where to look. There's been so much action. I'm just trying to keep an eye as well on Sam Van Alst, Kyle Ridley, because those two are nose to tail. And Sam, I think, has got some unfinished business it's fair to say. After getting into the lead of the race, that contact between himself and Stephen Burns, dropping him now down into third once again. He's going to try and upset the rhythm, looking for a switchback yet again on Kyle Ridley, but Kyle's doing a brilliant defensive job, acting brilliantly as a rear gunner, really, for Stephen Burns to allow his teammate some, well, an unhassled run of things up in front, I think is best to say.
Yeah, absolutely. All over one another. He's going for it down the inside. Nicely set up. Kyle turns in like he's not there. What does he expect? See, I think that was one of those manoeuvres. Oh, Togo Sada coming in for seconds. Whoa, flipping heck, really sent it on him there and give him a bit of a tap on the way through. But I think we've seen one of those moves recently, haven't we, Ed? Where it seems like the car in front knows the other guy's going down the inside, but he squeezes him to the apex anyway. And I think it's only right, really, that Sam Van Alst ended up with that position there. No offence to Kyle, no disrespect to Kyle whatsoever. We love him, but I think Sam made it clear what he was going to do there, and he pulled it off really well.
Yeah, it seems to be just a case of Sam Van Alst was going up the inside, and, you know, like you mentioned, Kyle just didn't really, I guess, anticipate that manoeuvre, or I mean, I would have expected him to have gotten the call that there was a car along the inside, but yeah, very, very strange, and that's set him all the way down now. Togo Sada pushing for something more than just third place as well, and Sam Van Alst, I'm not sure if the damage is going to cause him to slow up, but that was pretty aggressive as well, wasn't it, from Dopart there on Manitveld we just saw.
Yeah, Dopart down the inside. I think Manitveld again just turning in and expecting there not to be a car there or something. But still, I know that you can bounce these cars off one another a little bit and get away with it. So, you know, these guys do take a few liberties with that. But as Ed said before, you know, it's still really respectful stuff. They never overdo it. They still have a lot of fun racing these cars. Hence why we're here doing a 4th season of the British Boring Car Championship. Togo Sada currently leading in the independence class, though. He wants to hold on to that and try and take a class victory. It would be his 3rd class win of the season if he does so. We'll keep an eye out and see whether he makes that work. But at the front, that battle for Stephen Burns was exactly what he wanted. He's got 1.1 seconds over the rest of the crew behind him, and in boring cars that's good enough, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's all you need is just to go around. Now that he's got that 1 second gap, Sam Van Alst, Togo Hisada, you'll imagine, are going to squabble between themselves. Slow each other down. He could find himself breaking away, getting a victory to his name, but it's also looking at Team Jane Fonda and everything they need to do. It would have really appreciated that 1-2, because now Sam Van Alst for Notifying up in 2nd place, and then you've got John Bailiff in 7th, some strong points for Notifying still coming through, aren't there, Chaz? I mean, if they'd maybe worked a bit better together, could have been brilliant for Jane Fonda.
Yeah, it might get even worse right now, actually, as Taylor Adams goes down the inside of Kyle Ridley, side by side, down the start, finish straight. Taylor trying to make as much progress forward as he can here to catch up with Togo Hisada and try and take another class victory. It was Eric Maninveld that won it in that previous race. Jake having to get on the brakes there to avoid the back of Taylor, who was a bit slow out of Paddock Hill Bend. Down the inside he goes. Still not clear of Kyle. That's the thing. Oh, he's definitely not clear of Kyle. Bit of side-to-side contact between the two. Through Graham Hill Bend they go. Still a bit more contact. Taylor comes back onto the road, and look at Cranstone here. Down the inside, not quite this time. Now he's got to be careful, though, because he's got John Bailiff on his inside. Jake's got to give him the room now. Kyle Ridley going wider than everyone. Where's John in all of this? There he is. There's the number 7 Nodaphone car down the inside. They're nearly 3 wide on the exit. Kyle cuts back across, says no thank you. John Bailiff is there. Jake gives him a little bit of a kiss as well. The important thing there, though, for Taylor is that he's through and he doesn't have to worry about this. Or does he? Because if Kyle's looking in his mirrors too much, will he suddenly end up bolted down the inside when he doesn't want to be? Having to get on the brakes a little bit longer through Paddock Hill Bend, side by side. Bailiff down the inside of Cranstone, looking at the back of Taylor Adams' car. Taylor covers it off nicely. Manintveld there side by side with Dopar. Andy Fox behind them as well, with Duncan Murray in the picture. This is great battling. This is exactly what the British Boring Car Championship is all about. Look at them trading vinyl and paint with one another all the time.
Cranstone and Bailiff leaning on one another as they go through Graham Hill. Now, through the final corner. Clearways, it's still Bailiff up the inside. Wow, the way with Cranston. This is a great little tussle, isn't it? They've been side by side for a whole lap and they're going to carry on.
This is brilliant fun, absolutely brilliant fun, and I know these guys will be shouting and screaming at each other doing this. They're all in the same Discord chat, and Eric is just watching Jake and John give each other a little bit of a love tap here and there. Jake's still somehow carrying a load of momentum around the outside, needs to be careful. John covers it off, gets over to the right as soon as possible. Taylor Adams and Kyle Ridley having a bit of a fight in front. Maninveld has gone deep. Who's there? Patrick Dopart is the beneficiary of that one. And suddenly, Eric loses a spot. Taylor Adams still holding on to 4th place like his life depends on it, because look at the rabble of Jettas behind him there. All the way back from Taylor Adams in 4th place to Stuart Clark is only 2.3 seconds. Incredible.
It's, well, truly amazing. Great battling.
Oh,
the
no.
entire grid nearly knows the tail. Stuart Clark, he's going to fancy him.
Oh.
Drivers with drive-throughs. Deary me, Eric Maninveld and Andy Fox.
Eric Maninveld, unfortunately, after winning the independents earlier, ends up with a drive-through penalty. Let's see what happened
Murray's
there.
got
Duncan
one as
Murray,
well.
yeah, he was involved in this. Oh, Duncan goes in hot, hits the back of him, and Foxy hits the back of Murray. Oh, dearie me, chain reaction for all three of them. They had been getting a bit argy-bargy in this second race. We saw a few black flags at Alton Park, didn't we, in the second race of the night. It's like they sort of let their hair down a little bit in the second race. As Cranstone, how did he stay around there, then round the outside of Bailiff? Made that work somehow. I don't know, he's not got a slowdown penalty or anything, because we get a yellow flag on our overlay now when that happens, as Bailiff takes to the grass, gives it the rallycross route. Murray deep and hits the side of Dopart. Murray's got a black flag, he shouldn't be fighting them.
No, he shouldn't. He's got a black flag. He needs to come in and serve that. I'm not sure where his head is at there. But
no, I really
not...
don't agree with that at all. Especially when he's hitting another car as well by going deep on the brakes. I really don't agree with that. He knows he's got the black flag. We can see he's got the black flag. But still, we look at the front of the field. Togo Hisada's in 3rd place. 3 seconds over the rest of these boys. And he's actually, well, I mean, he's half a second off the lead.
Yeah, I thought actually we were going to see Stephen Burns break away from the lead of the race, but actually it is the case that Sam Van Olst is, like we said earlier, got unfinished business. He wants this race victory. He was leading earlier after getting ahead of both of the Jane Fonda cars, and now finds himself staring at the rear bumper of one yet again. Togo Hisada as well, chasing down potential victory for himself as well. Here we go, which will it be? Burns, Van Olst or Hisada as we come into the final 1.5 minutes worth of racing.
Oh, Jake got lucky there. I think he was trying to get around the outside of Kyle Ridley. He's managed to somehow turn it into an overtaking manoeuvre. I don't know how Jake does it, but he was around the outside of Kyle Ridley. Kyle went all the way to the edge of the circuit. I don't know how those 3 cars fit around that corner just then. It's just mind-blowing racing by these guys. But Jake was really far out to the outside. Kyle ran a lot wider than Jake expected him to. Hello, sunshine. Back onto the track he goes. And Jake somehow stayed on the road. Back up to the front. Stephen Burns leading Sam Van Olst. There's going to be just 1 lap left to go here at Brands Hatch Indy in the British Boring Car Championship. You're watching Season 4 with Chaz Draycott and Ed May, sponsored by Abruzzi, Derbyshire Holiday Homes and Orris Digital. Let's get on to this final lap, shall we? Stephen Burns leads the race. Sam Van Olst had contact with Stephen earlier on in the race. Just behind them, Togo Hisada, the Japanese driver, joined us halfway through the season, hoping to take another win in the independents, hoping to take his first overall race victory in the British Boring Car Championship. He's put his nose down the inside of Sam Van Olst. I didn't see that one coming. I thought he was going to sit back and wait for these two to have a scrap in front of him and then capitalise on the outcome. But no, he's made the move first, and he's going to try and get the better of Sam Van Olst here, Ed. I don't know if this is going to work for them.
Yeah, I'm not 100% certain either. We'll see if that's going to be the case or not. But Togo Hisada is just going to have to sit back and watch and hope that something falls his way if he's to win this race. Stephen Burns, though, he's going to round out the final corner, and I think it's going to be, yes, the checkered flag for him. Brilliant race from Stephen. Defended brilliantly right at the end where it counted.
Absolutely does, and it's his 2nd win of the season for Stephen Burns. Sam Van Olst is 2nd. 3rd place, Togo Hisada. Taylor Adams just about beats the rest of the field. Jake Cranstone, Patrick Dopart and John Bailiff next up. And wow, that was Stuart Clark sideways. Duncan Murray just behind these boys, and let's get ready for some fireworks up at the top of the hill. Maybe? No? I don't know what these guys have got planned, but they tend to plan something at the end of these race nights. We'll see. Oh, Stephen Burns is off and he's in the wall. Jake's going to... it carried on. It just kept going. There's Dopart. Oh, he actually didn't hit Jake at all. Has he got someone else in mind? Nodaphone car? Oh, dear. Oh, Lord. Eric Maninveld went off in a big way then. I think So the accident with Ben Benioff and all those at the bottom of the hill just kept on going. And I think Eric just finished it all off. Oh, yeah. Look at what's left of Cranstone's car. Both wheels hanging off it on each corner individually. Incredible stuff. Absolutely incredible. Let's have a look at the results of the feature race then here at Brands Hatch. Stephen Burns wins by just over 0.2 of a second from Sam van Olst. Togo Hisada takes third place ahead of Taylor Adams. Togo gets another class win. Kyle Ridley finishes in fifth ahead of Jake Cranstone in sixth. Patrick Dopart seventh with John Bailiff eighth. Ben Bennyworth ninth. Stuart Clark completes the top 10. We then have behind him Eric Manintveld, Duncan Murray and Andy Fox, I think, may have been disqualified in that one a lap down. Donny Alfa Henriksen was out way earlier on after having that large accident in the opening few laps. So, we're going to have a look now then, back to earlier on in tonight's race, and we're going to see if we can have a chat with some drivers. We'll get some tunes on the go, as we so often do. We'll see who is free for a quick chinwag. And I tell you what, Ed, somebody who I want to have a chat with is the man that just won the second race of the evening. Stephen, congratulations, mate. You did it a bit earlier on in the season at Thruxton, but 2 in a season now. You must be over the moon with that, mate.
Yeah, it's much easier to win a race when you've won one already, that's for sure.
That's it. You've just got to get in the rhythm, haven't you? That's the thing.
Yeah, absolutely, because once I got past Sam, it felt quite comfortable in front, to be honest, until the last lap. But me and Sam have been glued together for the whole race one, so I knew what was coming.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, a lot of great fighting, though. You know, on a circuit like this, where it's such a small little loop that repeats itself so many times, it's hard to get anything done, isn't it?
Yeah, well, in practice, before we started getting draft laps in, we were all within about 1/10 of each other. So,
wow,
there's absolutely nothing in it. And I think you saw that in race 2, where even the guys who'd won race 1 struggled to come through the field.
Well, yeah, that's it. You know, we saw Jake made a bit of progress in race 2 to begin with, but then it just seemed like everybody wanted to fight everybody, so there was no further progress to be made. Do you think this was one of the absolute highlights of the season so far this round? I mean, obviously slightly biased.
The highlight's always going to be Thruxton. That was such a great track for these cars. This is good fun, but it's very repetitive.
Yeah, that's fair enough. It's like my job. But it's been a pleasure to see you do well once again, Stephen. 2 more race meetings to go here in Boring Cars. What are your thoughts heading into the final few?
But this is Jetta's, so we'll have fun. We always do.
Absolutely, mate. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before you go?
Yeah, as usual, the wife will let me do this, and Sam in this race was great to race against. Feel a bit sorry for him because we had a little bit of contact when I got past. So, but he'll be back and he'll win races anyway.
Oh, he will, yeah. I mean, he bounced off the back of your Honda, in inverted commas, so enough times in that first race anyway. It was fantastic to watch. But thanks very much for joining us, Stephen. Well done on the race win, mate, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, cheers, both.
Cheers. Stephen Burns there, second win of the season for him. And, I mean, last time we spoke to him, he said he wasn't expecting one, was he?
No, he wasn't. It was, really impressive though, wasn't it, to see? Sorry, I was just trying to figure out what's going on. My housemate is just a bit lost at the moment, so sorry about that, Chaz. But yeah, it's been a really exciting second race, and well, both races were really impressive actually. Jake Cranstone's efforts kind of got overshadowed by everything in that second race.
Yeah, indeed. I think it's only right, though, that we bring in the man that won the independent class in that race. An overall podium for Togo Hisada. Togo, welcome to the booth. Once again, you must be really pleased with that result tonight. Great race.
Yeah, thanks so much. I'm really happy with this result.
And what was it like trying to battle with all of these maniacs at Brands Hatch Indy? Because, I mean, on a big track, there's too many egos to go around anyway, isn't there? But here at Brands Hatch, it's a tight little circuit.
Yeah, just I'm not even trying to make a move. Just sit in the back and seeking the other guy's mistake.
Yeah.
It's very fun to race out there. Yeah.
And obviously 2 more race meetings to go this season, Donington Park and Silverstone, 2 circuits that we actually did earlier in the championship, but you weren't with us for that. Are you excited for those?
I'm really looking forward to it. Yep.
And what's been the theme with your season so far? I mean, is there anything that you'd like to change or anything that you're particularly happy with?
Yeah, just how should I say? But I'm really enjoy this race and really satisfied with my current scoring, in the point.
Yeah.
And I'm really enjoy to join the race every week. Yep.
Well, we look forward to seeing how you get on in the final 2 race meetings. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before you go?
Thank you for the Charles and Ed. Thank you for organizing this event and the broadcast. Thank you very much.
Not a problem at all. Our absolute pleasure. Thank you very much, mate, and we'll see you again soon.
Yep. See ya.
Togo Hisada there, taking another win in the Independents. It's amazing, really, isn't it, Ed? Because, in his first race of the season at Thruxton, he didn't really shine that much, despite the livery on the car. But since then, he's just been brilliant, hasn't he?
Yeah, Togo, he has been just an absolute wonderful addition to the championship. And it's always one of those things where drivers can either sink or swim when they first get in here. And Togo has really taken to this championship like a duck to water. He's been just so brilliant out there, and he's been part of some great fights. Never really seen any drama around him as well. It's exactly what you want from a driver in your championship. So fingers crossed we'll see Togo as well in any future things we run here on Chaz Draycott Media. But for the next couple of race meetings, we'll certainly look forward to seeing more of him out on track.
Absolutely, we will do. Jake Cranstone comes away from here with an ever more extended championship lead, somehow. But with only 2 race meetings left, he's now got one hand on the title. We have 80 points available, and it's very likely that at the next round at Donington Park, we may see Jake confirm that championship after finishing second last season. He's definitely going to want to put right that result. That's all for now, though. Thanks once again to our championship sponsors. Thanks very much to Abruzzi, Derbyshire Holiday Homes and Orris Digital. Thank you to Ed. Thank you to all the drivers and everybody for watching. We hope we've put on another good show for you here today. Ed has mentioned as well that obviously it's fantastic to see these drivers coming through, and we hope to see them in future things that we broadcast here on Chaz Draycott Media. And just in case you missed the announcement earlier on tonight, we'll leave you with the next series to come from Chaz Draycott Media. But for now, from me and Ed, thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Back in 2021, the Chaz Draycott Media European Touring Car Championship took place, showcasing the bonkers Kia Optima and a number of fictional brands created for the series as a way to provide teams with colour schemes and liveries that avoided any potential copyright implications towards brands or conflicts of interest for the drivers using them. Now, as if plucked from the same universe nearly 4 years later, some of those brands are set to return to your screens. There are no signs of door handles or Kia badges here though, as the latest Chaz Draycott Media branded iRacing series sets to follow in the footsteps of the relatively successful Formula 1, on which the curtain closed earlier this year. Combining action-packed open-wheel racing with the colourful brands and logos of the ETCC gives you my latest offering, Formula CDM. Formula CDM is set to be a group of championships visiting all corners of the globe, with drivers fighting for title honours in individual regions. There is to be a European, American, Oceania and even British championship, all culminating into the one with the most bragging rights, the World Series. The format will make use of a sprint and feature race, the former being short and snappy, rewarding a small points boost at the start of the night, while setting the grid for the latter, a long, tough race with a mandatory pit stop to throw all elements at our drivers. The car used will be the Tatus PM18, known in iRacing as the Indy Pro 2000 PM18, a fantastic little 500 kilo formula car propelled to over 160 miles an hour by 275 of Mazda's finest horsepower. The first season is planned to get underway in October 2025 with 8 meetings across Europe running into January 2026, and the best thing of all, entry fees will be just £5 for the first instalment. From there on, returning drivers will receive a discount on future entry fees, subject to participation. It's bound to be a brilliantly fun world tour in one of iRacing's most underrated open-wheel gems. Formula CDM, coming soon.